Recently in Washington, unfortunately, we have seen examples of the wrong kind of leadership. When politicians choose scorched earth over common ground, when they operate in what I call the evidence-free zone, that is not the kind of leadership we need in Virginia and America today.
Hillary Clinton was campaigning in Virginia this weekend for her friend Terry McAuliffe, but sounded every bit the candidate herself. So can the current challengers of the Republican Party leave Clinton in a stronger position if she should decide to run? Well, that is the question Michael Hirsch asks in a new piece for the National Journal. And Michael joins me now. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Christine.
So just your reaction to what we saw and heard. She certainly looked like a candidate. She sounded like a candidate. I know a lot of people close to her have said she hasn't decided yet whether or not she expects to run. But do you think she's decided? Do you think she's made up her decision?
No, I don't think she has finally, but there's no mistaking the difference in rhetoric, things that she's said in response to these questions now compared to when she was Secretary of State and, was all but going Sherman-esque on us saying, look, I'm not, I have no interest in running. Those are the kind of things she said again and again. Now you hear, as you just heard in that speech for Terry McAuliffe, addressing the issue of national leadership. If that doesn't sound somewhat presidential seeking, I don't know what does.
Indeed. I want to read you something that you wrote, Michael, and then I want to get your reaction on the other side. You write, because the trend lines are unmistakable and they're looking better all the time, if she wants to run in 2016, Hillary Rodham Clinton could have the easiest walk into the White House of any candidate. The presidency is looking like it's hers to lose more than ever. I want to ask you, isn't it a little bit early to be making statements like that, especially given what we saw back in 2008? Barack Obama came from behind and obviously won.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, and I have usually avoided making statements like that. In fact, I sort of tend to make fun of people who write this early on 2016. I just thought that perhaps someone should write what a lot of people are thinking. And there's two major components to this. One, Hillary is enormously popular among the Democratic Party. Polls are consistently showing that if she decides to run, almost no one can challenge her. So she's head and shoulders above potential Democratic nominee contenders. And then if you look at the Republican side, this is a party that, as you indicated in your previous segment, is nearly in a state of civil war, is very dysfunctional, in which any nominee is probably going to have to go through some of the same hoops that Mitt Romney did in 2012, where he had to, try to outflank all of his contenders to the right. And so by the time the fall campaign came around, he was already far too right-wing, too conservative in his views for the general electorate. And you see those trend lines are unmistakable. Nothing has changed. Nothing is likely to change. And so in that environment, it does look like if Hillary really wants to, make a go of it, she could have a relatively easy time.
Michael, former President Bill Clinton was asked about his wife's political ambitions. Take a look.
If she is running, to your knowledge, blink twice.
I blinked once. You know that if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. But I honestly don't know. Chelsea doesn't know, and Hillary doesn't know. And that's a good thing for America. We should focus on these big challenges now and talk about how to get this country back on track.
All right. Well, he says he doesn't know. Do you think that those close to Hillary have figured out how to use Bill Clinton as an asset should she decide to run? Of course, in the last campaign, a lot of people thought he was more of a liability.
No, exactly. And they made serious mistakes in the last campaign. You alluded to, how can you write something about Hillary now when you might have a surprise event like the phenomenon like Barack Obama coming along? Well, I don't think there are any other Barack Obamas out there. It's potentially possible to have, say, Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, who's very populist, deciding to run. But I think the Clintons are going to not they're going to be very careful not to make the same mistakes, the kind of things that former President Clinton said when the Obama insurgency began, the way that they strategized. They didn't have to, contend in some of the smaller Democratic caucus states, which was a huge mistake because it turned out the Obama campaign racked up a lot of delegates and put him over the top. So they're not going to do that again. And I don't think that in this environment you're going to find another Barack Obama. And this is a guy who was like a 100-year storm. I mean, how often does that come along? So I do think that she's going to do better this time than she did in 2008.
All right, Michael
if she
Hirsch,
decides
thank you.
to run.